Hello, Bio 103 students. Welcome to our second week of the class. Since our course was somewhat dissected into two parts here due to spring break, it seems like it's been a really long time since I've talked about this class and made a video for you all since I did the first one before the beginning of the first class. So in any case, welcome back, everyone. Hope your spring break went well. And let's jump right back into content. Remember, this course moves very quickly. As you saw in the first module, we have a lot of material to cover and not a whole lot of time to do it in. So let me talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in week 2. So this week we are going to be talking about populations, and we're actually going to be talking about two slightly distinct topics, but they're very interrelated, of course. As a continuation of what you learned in the week 1 module about ecosystems, we also talked about a little bit about communities and species interactions. Another thing we have to understand in these communities is how populations change over time. So we're going to be talking about different models of population growth. So you'll learn about logistic growth and exponential growth. You'll learn about reasons why populations are limited in their growth. So we're going to talk about some of these limiting population factors. And these are all specific topics related to natural things. Okay, so anything other than humans, basically. And then as a related topic, but distinct, we're also going to be talking about human populations and what has led to the growth of human populations, especially over the last 150 to 200 years. So we're going to talk about sort of that period in time and what has led to this explosive growth that we have seen in human populations. So again, we've got two different chapters here that we're covering, but they're very similar to each other. So just as before, we have both readings and, oops, that's going to take you to the book. We have both our readings. We also then have our lecture materials for this time. So it's just one distinct lecture, but it does cover both topics. For assignments this week, we have a few different things. There is a population momentum activity that you're going to complete. So this is going to look at just kind of go ahead and hit OK there. This is actually going to look at how different populations in different countries, and based on their growth rates, what happens to these populations over time. So there's a population model in there. It's pretty simple, easy to use. The directions are very straightforward. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. We have discussion this week. So the discussion this week also has to do with populations and how populations are growing, specifically looking at fertility rates around the world, and potentially looking at ways that we can somehow reduce those fertility rates. Please remember that when you're doing discussions, ideally you should be posting the Friday of the week that the discussion is due. So in this case, we're talking about Friday, April 1st is when I'd like you to have your initial response to the discussion question. And then by Sunday, please make sure you respond to at least one other student. You need to do both of those pieces in order to get full credits for discussion. And I will be going through and grading all the assignments from week 1 this week. I will be honest with you, didn't do any grading over spring break. So I'll be doing all of that grading this week. And if I do see things that, as far as especially discussion-based, if I have tips or hints for you or things I think you might need to work on, you'll definitely see that in your grade comments. We also have a module quiz as is the norm, right? So it covers everything that we have covered just to check your comprehension. And then last but not least, we're going to start to talk about the Green Tech Project. Now, I made slight reference to this project at the very beginning of the class, and I said, don't worry about it now, we'll talk about it later. Well, now we're going to talk about it. So if you haven't looked into this, if you go to additional materials and you go into the green technology presentation, what I have here are I have some just some documents that are kind of help you understand what this is. So what is this? Essentially, I want you to pick some sort of new and emerging technology that is designed to help the planet somehow. So what does that mean? Lots of different things. you can pick all kinds of things. You can talk about new types of green buildings that are designed to be able to take in carbon dioxide and help with climate change. You can talk about I've seen air purifying roof tiles. So tiles that you put on the roofs of houses that actually suck in air pollution and hold them, so they're removing those things from the environment. Different types of green burials. So there's different types of pods that you can be buried in that sort of decompose your body, and then you grow a tree. So in any case, I could go on and on and on about all the different types of topics that you can find. But essentially, what I want you to find is some type of new invention, something that's been created to help solve an environmental problem. And you're going to do a little presentation about it. That's the idea. So this is a semester-long project, which means that there will be different pieces that you'll complete as the semester continues. The first piece I'd like you to complete is the topic brainstorm. And the topic brainstorm, quite simply, is just coming up with ideas on what you might want to do. I would prefer you come up with 3. If there are more ideas that you have than just 3, you can go ahead and write those down, but 3 would be my preference here. And you don't need a whole lot here. All you need is a very brief title for what it is, like air purifying roof tiles, and then just in a sentence or 2, tell me what it does. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm looking for right now. So that is going to be due this week. So what you should do sometime is just do like a little Google search, right? So green technologies. So there's all kinds of things. There's technologies that are helping with water pollution, air pollution. There are technologies that are helping to purify water. There are technologies that are helping to purify the air and help with climate change. And you name it, it's out there. It just takes a little bit of researching on your part. So find something you're interested in. I've had students do projects on sustainable clothing and fashion because that's something that interested them. I've had students do presentations on actual pieces of technology, trying to make like cell phones and different things, making the pieces of them more environmentally friendly. So whatever you're into, I'm sure you can find a topic that will relate to that. So the brainstorm is due this week. And as the semester goes on, we'll have other pieces further until we eventually get to the presentations themselves. And the presentation themselves is going to be via Flipgrid. Okay, so remember how we used Flipgrid for the intros. I'm going to have you do the same thing for your presentation. So you're going to create something, a PowerPoint or slide deck. You can create a video, a Padlet, an animation, whatever you want to create, and then you're going to use Flipgrid to display it to us and create like a 3 to 5 minute video about your presentation. So that's the project. If you need more information, again, please go to the additional materials folder here on Blackboard. And then you're going to click on, once again, the green technology presentation folder. So going back then to our learning modules, okay, so as far as assignments go this week, you're going to do the demographics lab. It's like a little assignment. The module 2 quiz, your brainstorm, and then your discussion. And don't forget to check in on Socrative, last thing you do. So remember, this should be like the final piece after everything else is finished. Then please check in on Socrative. Don't do that first. And remember, to get to Socrative, you will need to use the room number that I give you. And also please sign in with your Harper username, not your Harper ID, but your Harper username. So I think that's it for this week. Once again, if you have questions, please let me know. Reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I will be emailing you all again on Wednesday just to remind you of what is due and what needs to get accomplished. But I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Have a good week, everybody.